What's going on, everyone? MetalBlade427 here, and I present to you my random thoughts on Avengers: Age of Ultron. I did one of these about a year or so ago when the new Godzilla movie came out. Please feel free to go check that out. I'll have annotation or card or whatever it is somewhere on the screen, so at least you can get an idea of what's going to be happening during this video. And you know what? Seriously, I kid you not, this is the first in-theater movie I have seen since then. So I haven't been to a theater in almost a year now. And I figured with this movie being as big as it is and whatnot, I'd give this review-style video another go. I actually saw this movie on Saturday, but I'm waiting until now, which is Sunday night, to do the official uploading, because I know a lot of people that are looking to see this movie over the weekend, and I really don't want to spoil anything for them before they go see it. Which actually reminds me, this quote-unquote review will contain some spoilers to it. I'm going to try to glaze over some of the more shocking moments of the movie, so you can experience them for yourself, but there will be various details that I talk about that will give away some points to the plot or little things about it here and there. So, warning, 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 this has been your warning. Now then, I'm going to go through the cast one by one, and it is really large, because it's the Avengers after all. Everybody plays somebody that we've seen before in their own movie. So, starting off, Robert Downey Jr. What can I say about this man that hasn't already been said? He is a phenomenal actor. The part of Tony Stark / Iron Man was basically destined for him. No one will be able to replace him when he stops doing this role. You know what? And that was also said about, like, you know, the Joker and Batman and other characters like that, but really, Robert Downey Jr., you are Tony Stark, and that is that. Cartoons are another thing. You can have anybody you want voice him or whatever, but in the movies, Mr. Stark is RDJ. That's it. I don't think I could accept anybody else as Robert Downey Jr., or as Tony Stark, other than Robert Downey Jr. And I thank you, Robert, for actually staying on as a character for not only Avengers 3, Part 1 and 2, but also for signing on to Captain America Civil War. Might as well use Civil War as a segue onto Chris Evans, who plays Captain America / Steve Rogers in these movies. Now, I have to sit here and 100% truly congratulate Chris Evans for reinventing himself as a brand new hero. Sounds weird, but do you guys remember the Human Torch in those other, bad, that's the nicest word I can think of, Fantastic Four movies? Yeah, that was Chris Evans. He was Johnny Storm then, and now we have him as our Star-Spangled Avenger. I was a little hesitant when he made the jump from Human Torch to Captain America, but now that I've seen him as Captain America in many, many, many movies, I believe that we, as a society, have hit the point where we can efficiently forget about all of those movies and consider Chris Evans as just Steve Rogers. And speaking of actors taking on the role of characters played by other characters, Mark Ruffalo. I finally get it. I finally understand where he was going for as he portrayed Bruce Banner. And I have to say, I like it. I really do. I like when he first did Avengers 1, he was kind of in it here and there, and you got a little bit of it. But in Avengers 2, when you really got to know Bruce Banner, and you really got to see him side by side between Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and then just kind of looking back and forth, I completely understand where you were going from. I remember reading that his mindset when he went in to play Bruce Banner was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type deal. Basically, two complete opposites of a whole being. There is a scene in Avengers 2 where Black Widow and Bruce Banner are talking to each other, and she says to him something like, I don't remember the line exactly, but it goes like, all of my friends are fighters, and then here comes this guy who's not like anyone I've ever met. He doesn't want to be a fighter because he knows he can beat everyone. And that line right there just shows the conflicting, I guess, emotions within Banner. Banner himself is a pacifist. He is a nerd, a geek, always thinking. But he also knows that if pushed, he is unstoppable. That there's nothing on this world that can stop his rage, stop his anger, stop his power. And he's scared of that. And he knows it. And it's just so good the way that he finally, I get the way and I get his mindset for the character. Chris Hemsworth, as always, makes a great Thor with those golden locks of his, and somehow he always finds a way to have a scene without his shirt on. Like, I guess that's the real and the female audience. Thor has a bunch of funny moments in this film, and I like the way that Chris Hemsworth actually delivers those lines and everything, because he does the accent and everything, and he tries to be all serious when he does these lines, but they're just so funny, because you can tell he's obviously not from Earth, and he doesn't know our customs, but just the way that he delivers them is just hysterical. And there's actually a lot of funny scenes involving his hammer. Now, for those that don't know, Mjolnir, which is his hammer, can only be wielded by someone who it deems worthy, which means it thinks that whoever is holding it has the ability to kind of control it and handle whatever power is within inside of it. There's actually a scene that was shown before the Avengers movie came out, so you'll be able to find this online and everywhere, where it has all the Avengers sitting around Tony's apartment, and Thor's like, let's see who can pick up my hammer, and everyone tries to move it. And if you look closely, Captain America moves it. He can't pick it up, but he just moves it, and you have a shot of Thor in the background with this like look on his face, like he was able to move it, and like it's a very entertaining scene to watch his reaction to something like that. And Cap just doesn't know, because they all think it's some type of trick. Miss Scarlett Johansson, you plus spandex will always be a win in my book. And really, that's all I can pretty much say about her. We've seen her play Black Widow before, so it's a lot of the same, except for one thing, but that's a subject that I'm going to leave for the what I didn't like about this movie section. But honestly, I felt like she was more of a supporting role. Like, she wasn't the lead actress that you would think she would be, because she's part of the Avengers. Elizabeth Olsen, I believe, overshadowed her as the main female lead in this movie. And quite frankly, I think she was in it more than Scarlett Johansson. But I guess we did get some background on Natasha Romanoff, which is Black Widow, the character she plays. So that means that we don't need a movie involving her now, because we know her backstory. Yay! Now, Jeremy Renner, whatever. This guy absolutely needs a Hawkeye movie. Dude, I watched him play the piano on The Tonight Show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google that, Tonight Show, Hawkeye, whatever. He sings a song to the tune of Ed Sheeran. I don't remember what the song is, but it's an Ed Sheeran song. And he sings about the quote-unquote powers Hawkeye has. And it's funny because in the movie itself, there was a few scenes here and there. One specifically where Clint, the character that Jeremy plays, Hawkeye is the hero name, is being consoled by someone in the effect that, yeah, you have all these super powerful friends around you with all these special abilities and everything, and even though you just have a bow and an arrow, you really are one of the strongest members of the team. And it's just a really cool moment because it plays so much into the song that he sang on The Tonight Show. And it shows how vital of a role Hawkeye is to the Avengers. Even though, again, he's more of a supporting character, he did not have his own movie, and he just made cameos in other ones, Hawkeye is just played so well. Jeremy does it so good. There's that sarcastic tone to Hawkeye, but at the same time, he's just so good at what he does, and he knows it. So that's all the main Avengers and what I thought of the overall performance that the actors gave, but we still have a few other characters that I need to talk about. First, I'm going to start with Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor-Johnson. They play Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, aka Pietro and Wanda Maximoff. Mind you, during the entire movie, at least I didn't pick up on it, no one ever called them by their hero names. So the words Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were never used in the movie. They used their civilian names all the time, but I never once heard anybody say their hero names. Now, I never saw X-Men Days of Future Past. And in X-Men Days of Future Past, from what I know, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are just there. Like, there's no... I don't know how much involvement they actually have to the plot. Avengers 2? Oh man, they are everywhere. They are front and center, and they play the roles of both the heroes and the villains amazingly. It is really awesome to watch both characters change in the movie as they go from, bad guys to good guys, and through the whole thing you really feel for them. At least I think so. The origin stories of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are different in Avengers 2 compared to what it normally is. If you know anything about the comics, you would know that Pietro and Wanda are Magneto's children, and Magneto is the mutant that controls metal, and he's the main villain to the X-Men. In Avengers 2, spoilers, haha, just to make sure, mind you, they tell you this almost within the first 20 minutes of the movie anyway. Pietro and Wanda are orphans, and they lost their family in a bombing, which is part of the storyline and the reason why they do things, and they were picked up by Hydra and they were experimented on. So Pietro was given the ability to move his body at supersonic speeds, which gives him the, you know, quick running and everything. And Wanda's, instead of having her, I think in the comic book, she had a mutant ability of probability manipulation. I think that's how they call it. In the movie, in Avengers 2, she has telekinetic abilities and she has, like, mental mind-bending abilities. And it's shown in this really weird red mist. So it's a change of the origin story, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I don't mind that. So every epic movie needs an epic villain. And being that his name is actually in the title, Ultron really is just amazing. What's nice about him is he makes his appearance fairly early in the film, maybe about 30-35 minutes in, give or take, and then is just everywhere from there on out. No hiding behind walls, no half images. When Ultron is on screen, his presence is known. And James Spader, I am telling you guys, he has some voice and it fits Ultron in every way possible. It's almost hypnotic. Seriously, while I was in the theater, which was packed for an 11 a.m. showing, by the way, whenever Ultron spoke, no one said a word. Not even the children. It was just like a hush on the crowd whenever Ultron got up on the screen, and he just took it. Here's an example. There is a scene where Pietro, Wanda, and Ultron are all trying to cut a deal for a shipment of vibranium with the villain Ulysses Clout. For those of you that don't know who he is in the comic, this is Claw from the comics, a villain who uses a sonic weapon in place of his right hand. During their meeting, Ultron says something to Clout that reminds him of Tony Stark, which apparently in this universe, Stark sold weapons to Clout at some point in the past. Ultron then, for the lack of a better term, throws a temper tantrum saying he is nothing like Stark, and he gets all mad and he goes on a bit of a rage and cuts off Clout's right hand, which is, I guess, where the sonic weapon is going to go when he becomes supervillain status or pseudo-villain status, whatever. He wasn't really that mainstream villain anyway. This scene is funny because after Ultron cuts off his arm, he's all like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. But don't compare me to Stark," and then he throws him through like a door into another room. Now, there are other comic book characters that do make an appearance in this movie too. Quick rundown, again, this is a spoiler, but here you go. As far as heroes are concerned, you're going to see Nick Fury, the Mariah Hill, War Machine is in this, Falcon is in this, Agent Carter is in it, Peggy Carter from Captain America, and I think she has her own spinoff now. Heimdall from the Thor series, and of course Vision, which, you know, he plays a key role actually to the very end of the movie, but you won't see him for a good 75% into it and everything. But he's there, and I like the way that he interacts with everybody in the way that he comes to be. But I'll let you see that, and you make your own judgment for that. As far as villains are concerned, in the opening action sequence, they go up against Baron von Strucker, which is another general for Hydra, and then Claw, which I mentioned before. I'm sure that there are other Easter eggs and mentions of characters here and there in the movie, because this is packed by so much, but I probably missed things here and there. The Hulkbuster fight scene. Sweet, sweet scene. This happens, I want to say, maybe about an hour and 20 minutes into the movie, hour and a half, give or take, so you really don't have to wait for it, and it's not like the last thing you see or whatever. I like how it's also hinted at earlier in the movie. There's a scene where Tony and Bruce are walking around the Avengers Tower, and they're talking about various inventions and everything, and they mention Veronica. As a viewer, and then someone who knows the comments, I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell is Veronica? Veronica is the AI program that launches the Hulkbuster armor to Tony, and it also works as kind of a built-in containment barrier to help slow down the Hulk, because you can't stop him, whilst Tony suits up or replaces broken parts and things along that ways. Now, there's plenty of other moments that I can go over in the movie that I like, but I'm going to let you see it and you make moments for yourself. However, this movie is beyond perfect. As one of the YouTube channels I watch puts it, no movie is without sin. And though I won't go into many details, I will say a few things. For one, spoiler. 2, yes, we get it. Disney, you own Marvel, right? We got it. You ever watched any of the trailers to Avengers? They had the No Strings on Me song playing from Pinocchio. And yes, Ultron sings that song quite a few times in the movie. It's like, okay, first time, it was funny because I was in the trailer. Ha ha ha, okay, good, there it is. When it happens again, and then again, it's like, okay, we get it. We get it. You're doing this like allegory to Pinocchio and Geppetto, where you have, you know, Ultron who wants to be a real thing on his own independent, you know, person, but then you have the original puppet master that started it all, which was Tony. I get where you're going with it, but Disney, you own them. We get it. I get it. Okay, moving on from that. The other thing that really grinded my gears about this movie is what the hell was the deal with the whole Black Widow in love with Bruce Banner thing? I mean, Natasha having feelings like that for him? I don't remember that happening anywhere. Like, not in the comics, not in the TV series, not in the cartoons, nowhere. Bruce has Betty. She is his love interest. She is the one that's supposed to calm the Hulk and all that. The fact that they made Natasha's character basically in love with Bruce Banner just really is annoying. There's a part in the movie where Thor and Tony are talking about Jane and Pepper, which are their love interests. And it shows that even though women flock to them, they're still loyal to their ladies. What happened to Betty? Like, Natasha was flirting with Bruce through a large portion of this movie. There's even a point, spoiler by the way, as if I didn't warn you enough already, where she kisses him. I understand. This is the cinematic universe, where they take inspirations from the comic book story arc and turn them into pretty much their own original tales and whatnot. However, there are just some things that I really don't agree with, and that's one of them. Bruce belongs to Betty, no matter what the storyline. Widow can do whatever she wants. You know, she can be with Hawkeye, she can be whatever. Personally, I always thought that she was supposed to end up with Captain America. At least that's what I thought the ending was. But that's just me. Whatever. So, final thoughts. This is a long freaking movie, so be ready for the long haul. But the pacing is good enough where it doesn't feel as long as it really is. The first, like, hour and a half to almost 2 hours, I felt flew by without me really even knowing it. The last part was a little bit problematic, but I think that's because I had to pee and I didn't really want to get up and go miss anything. The rumors of Spider-Man appearing in this film so far appear false to me, but, I mean, I didn't pick up on him anywhere, but that doesn't mean that there isn't an Easter egg in there at all. There is a very brief scene right before the rolling credits that sets up Avengers 3, as well as talk and explanations of the Infinity Stones throughout the movie itself. But as far as after the credits go, nothing. There's a sign that comes up that says, the Avengers will return, and that's it. So feel free to empty your bladder once the screen goes black and the credits start rolling. Would I rate this better than Avengers 1? No, but it is not below it either. Both movies are equally as epic, but in their own way, which is why I think I really like this movie so much. Rather than just doing what the first one did again, they expanded on the whole team dynamic and brought it all one step further. So, anyone that knows the Avengers knows their catchphrase, Avengers Assemble, right? Yes. Technically, in the first movie, that phrase was never said once. In this movie, the literal very last scene right before the credits, you see the new Avengers. I'll let you see who they are, but you see the new Avengers. Captain America and Black Widow are there getting ready to start their training. Captain America stands before them and goes, Avengers? Movie ends. And I'm just like, oh, come on! Funny moment. But seriously, it's a jerk. You're gonna pull that type of jerky movement on me? Really? Oh, and no swearing. Captain America doesn't like swearing. If you see the movie, you'll see what I'm getting when I say that. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching my quick review-ish thing for Avengers Age of Ultron. Let me know what you thought of it, you know, me and my random ramblings and whatnot, and then your opinions of the movie, should you have gone and seen it. Don't forget to rate and share this video if you haven't, you know, already done so, and hit that subscribe button so you can get equipped with me, MetalBlade427. Until next time, everyone, you have a good one, and I shall catch you all later. Avengers, assemble! See?